Rock. Now, Rock was interesting. They had a lot of pretty interesting Pokemon. There was Onix, who was okay. He was like a rock snake, which was pretty cool. But my favorite one was Rhydon. I don't know why, he just was. Probably because the spikes are spikes. Poison. Poison and Bug are almost the same thing. They both are good against Plant. Well, Bug is good against Psychic, and Poison is almost only good against Grass, actually. So the actual, like, super effective aspect of Poison was not that grand. In my personal opinion, it should have been good against fighting as well. But they had the Poison ability, which did bring down the strength of your opponent pretty quickly. Especially with the moves that has Toxic. But my favorite one was Golbat. He rocked. And I like bats. Bats are one of my favorite animals. So yeah, Golbat quickly took the place of that. Before I go on to the electric, in the first gen, you could not breed your Pokemon. So what you got is what you had. You catch a Pokemon at a high level, you have to train up their stats from where they are. But in the game, there's these effort values that allowed you to train your Pokemon with the stats that you want if you could figure out what the effort values of each Pokemon is. But I found out that it's usually the stat that's highest. So you catch a Pokemon and note its highest stat, that's probably the effort value. So the legendaries were at 40 and level 70, which did not leave much room to train them as you wish. So, my favorite electric happens to be Zapdos. So, by the time I got to Zapdos, there was not much electric Pokemon to use. You find Pikachu in the forest. I hate Pikachu. Mainly it is because of the hype he's given, because of the show. Everybody's like, oh, Pikachu, he's so cute, he's the best Pokemon ever. And so now every game has to have Pikachu in it. And every time they release, like, toys, Pikachu has to be in it. It's like freaking Pikachu. But my favorite is Zapdos, like I said. And Voltorb was in a cave. But he wasn't really that powerful. The most they gave him was like Explosion, and that just kills you off, so it doesn't really do well unless you have that one item that gives your Pokemon a permanent endure. So Zapdos was pretty awesome. Obviously, for the Psychic, my favorite is Alakazam. Oh, you thought I was going to say Mewtwo. Yeah, he was pretty cool. He was pretty powerful. But like I said earlier, the huge problem, you get him at level 70. Unless you use a Game Shark, of course. But you get him at level 70, so there isn't much you could train him. And already at that point, 70 was pretty much the highest you can go, because there was not that much of a area to go to train at that level. You only had to do against the Elite Four, which is annoying to do over and over and over and over again. It's pretty much the same as hunting in the unknown dungeon for hours. So, I used Alakazam. You catch him around 10, 12, and he is very fast. In fact, if you train him from properly from the when you catch him, he'll have higher special and higher speed than Mewtwo. And I have tested it. I wish I could show you the game, but my blue version is deleted. So, last type is water. Now, why did I save water for last? Because this Pokemon is my favorite. All-time favorite. Even to this day. Only Drapion had, or Drapion and now, Bisharp actually contends with him now. But, with Gyarados, he was... How do I describe it? He's a Chinese dragon, for one, which I was sad he was not a dragon type. I thought he'd be dragon water. But no, they give that to Seadra. Seadra's evolution. So, he's my favorite water type. When I first caught him, I bought the Magikarp for 100 gold. And all my friends were like, you just paid 100 gold for a crappy Pokemon. I'm like, well, at least I don't have to catch him later on. Not knowing I can catch him with the Super Rod, or Old Rod. But I trained him. I had him up front and then I switched him out with someone else. And when he evolved into Gyarados, I was like, oh, he learned Bite. And at this point, I did not training the previous Pokemon that had Bite. So I threw him out, used Bite, and it almost fanned the Pokemon off in one hit. Because of his high attack. So I quickly fell in love with Gyarados. But however, in Gen 2, they introduced Dark and Steel. And they made Dark a special attack base. And then they changed Bite to Dark for some reason. So, Gyarados' power was kind of destroyed. And so it's like the best move he had was Hyper Beam. And I could barely use that because it takes a turn to recharge it. But they brought his power back in Gen 4 when they made each move have its own attack or special attack base. And then they started making actual physical attacks like Aqua Tail, which is now Gyarados' staple move for me. I don't even teach him Giga Force. So, that wraps up all the elements. And like I said, I am using this as a build-in into what I'm doing. And I'm not going to give too much information about that, because I want to still keep it a secret. But I'll be releasing information about it, in small chunks. So, this is pretty much a wrap-up of Cast Blog number 4/5. So, I will bring you the second gen list, which is going to be shorter, next time. So, until then, stay white and nerdy.